The first human ship tore through the battlefield like a ghost ripping open reality. And in that instant, 10,000 alien soldiers realized their gods had lied to them. I remember the silence before the screams. Space itself seemed to flinch as our hull breached the war zone, scattering plasma fire and debris like startled birds. For a heartbeat, every targeting system froze. Every alien I turned toward us, and somewhere deep in my chest, an old fear whispered that we were already too late. They had told us humanity was extinct. A myth, a bedtime story whispered to frighten hatchlings into obedience. But as our ship's shadow crossed their burning sky, the lie finally collapsed. And that was only the beginning. My name is Commander Elias Rook, last born of Earth's second Exodus fleet. I had grown up hearing fragments of the old wars, half-recorded memories of a planet that no longer existed. Earth had died quietly, not with an explosion, but with a sigh, strangled by cosmic politics and sealed quarantines. Or so we believed. What I didn't know then was that Earth's death had become a legend, and legends have consequences. I wasn't alone on the bridge. Lieutenant Mara Cade stood at my right, hands shaking despite her calm expression. She had lost her parents on the refugee Orcs, and she wore that grief like armor. Beside her was Threx, our alien liaison, a Virelian defector with silver skin and eyes that reflected too much. He had once believed humanity was a fabrication. Now, he couldn't look away from the viewport. What if they fire? Mara whispered. They already have, Threx replied softly. Just not at you. The war zone was orbiting Keros 9, a crimson world wrapped in storms and blood-colored clouds. Below us, two alien coalitions clashed in a conflict that had already burned for a century. The Virelian Concord and the Ashen Synod, both ancient, both ruthless, both convinced humanity was nothing more than an embarrassing footnote in galactic history. Until we arrived. Plasma beams crossed beneath us like angry gods dueling. One ashen dreadnought split in half, spilling fire and bodies into the void. A Virelian carrier detonated moments later, the shockwave rattling our hull. My crew flinched as fragments pinged against our armor. Every instinct screamed to run. Instead, I ordered us deeper. In that moment, fear became something else. Purpose, the kind that burns away hesitation and leaves only motion. If humanity was going to re-enter the galaxy as a legend made flesh, then we would do it with our eyes open. Our sensors screamed warnings. Missiles locked. Energy lances charged. The bridge lights dimmed as my crew waited for my command. I could feel their fear pressing against my spine. We were one ship, one relic, against armadas that measured victory in extinction. But then the transmission came through, fractured and trembling. Impossible, the alien voice said. Humans are not real. I almost laughed. Almost. But what I said instead changed everything. This is Commander Elias Rook of the United Human Remnant. I replied, stand down or witness a myth come to life. For 3 seconds, no one fired. In those seconds, I realized something was wrong. The enemy ships weren't just hesitating. They were retreating. Not from us, from something else. And that was when the battlefield shifted. A massive structure uncloaked near the planet's shadow. An ancient space station, carved with symbols older than recorded time. It was larger than any ship I'd ever seen, its surface scarred by millennia of impacts. Space bent subtly around it, like reality itself was afraid to touch it. The aliens reacted with terror. "That station," Threx whispered, his voice breaking. "It's forbidden." We were taught it was a curse, a judge that ends civilizations. None of us were prepared for the truth. The station broadcast a single signal across all frequencies. A voice followed, calm, resonant, and unmistakably non-human. "Humanity has returned to the crucible," it said. "Judgment will resume." The words hit me harder than any weapon. Judgment, resume, as if this war had been paused, waiting for us. And then the station opened fire, annihilating both alien fleets without discrimination. Ships vanished in silent flashes. Thousands died in moments. Mara turned away, tears floating from her eyes in zero gravity. Screams flooded the comm channels. Alien voices begged, cursed, prayed. I ordered all channels closed, but the echoes lingered in my head. And still, the station ignored us. Why spare humanity? That question burned in my mind as debris drifted like snow. But the answer came faster than I wanted. The station hailed us directly. "Commander Rook," the voice said, "you carry the genetic echo. The choice remains." I demanded answers. Instead, the station pulled us in with a gravity where we couldn't escape. Alarms blared. Threx screamed in his native tongue. As the stars stretched into lines, I felt the weight of every human life pressing down on my shoulders. Whatever waited inside wasn't salvation. It was reckoning. Inside the station, time felt wrong. Corridors curved impossibly. Light bent around corners. Memories surfaced that weren't mine. Ancient humans standing before alien judges. Earth shining blue and alive, then folding away like a secret. At the core waited an entity of shifting geometry and cold intelligence. It called itself the Arbiter. Long ago, it explained, humanity had been selected as a balancing force. Emotional, unpredictable, capable of empathy in ways other species were not. Earth wasn't destroyed by accident. It was removed, hidden, preserved. Humanity was never meant to vanish, only to wait. Wait for what? I asked. "For this war," the Arbiter replied. "For the moment when the galaxy proved it could not govern itself." That was the turning point. The moment everything I believed shattered. Humanity wasn't a victim. We were a contingency plan. The realization tasted bitter. All our mourning, all our centuries of hiding, had been part of an equation written by something that never felt grief. That knowledge hurt more than any battlefield loss. The Arbiter showed us records of failed cycles. Species rising, conquering, collapsing. Again and again. Each time, humanity had been scheduled to return. Each time, the war ended too soon or too late. This time, the galaxy had reached critical mass. Mara broke down then. "They want us to kill everyone," she sobbed. "That's not who we are." Threx looked at me with haunted eyes. "My people taught me humans were demons," he said. "Now I see they were afraid you might choose mercy." The Arbiter revealed the final truth. If I activated the station fully, it would end the war. Permanently. Entire civilizations would be erased. Billions dead. Peace enforced through annihilation. If I refused, the war would spread outward, consuming neutral systems, eventually reaching hidden Earth itself. This was the emotional low point. No victory, only loss measured in different currencies. I thought of Earth, of the stories my mother whispered before sleep, of children who had never seen a sky filled with alien fire. I thought of what it meant to be human when no one was watching. What I saw next changed everything. The Arbiter showed me Earth, alive, hidden beyond folded space, forests restored, cities glowing gently at night, billions of humans thriving, unaware they were one command away from becoming executioners in the galaxy's eyes. I could save them by condemning others, or doom them by doing nothing. My hands shook as I reached for the control interface. The Arbiter waited, patient and absolute. I chose a third path. I rewrote the station's directive. Humanity would not judge alone. The station's weapons reconfigured. Instead of extermination beams, it prepared a transmission unlike anything ever attempted. Memory matrices, emotional imprints, the lived experience of suffering, regret, love, loss. Every atrocity committed in the war, stripped of propaganda and justification. "What are you doing?" the Arbiter asked. "Teaching," I said, "the one thing you never learned." The station fired. Across the war zone, alien fleets froze as soldiers collapsed, overwhelmed by the weight of lives they destroyed. Generals screamed as they relived every order they'd given. Entire crews wept. Some ships powered down. Others fled blindly into deep space. The war stopped, not with an explosion, but with understanding. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy reeled. Some worlds rejected the truth and burned themselves apart. Others sent envoys, asking fragile questions about peace. Humanity became a mirror no one could avoid looking into, and that terrified them. The Arbiter watched in silence as its ancient logic unraveled. This outcome was not predicted, it said. "That's humanity," I answered. "We don't follow scripts." The station powered down. The Arbiter faded, its purpose fulfilled or rendered obsolete by something messier and far more dangerous than logic, hope. As our ship escaped the dying gravity well, I looked back at the quiet battlefield. Threx knelt, whispering a prayer for the dead. Mara squeezed my hand, her eyes red but determined. Ahead of us lay Earth, and a galaxy that would never look at humanity the same way again. We would be feared, hated, watched, but we would also be remembered. I understood then that myths are dangerous things. They inspire hope, yes, but they also demand answers. Humanity would no longer be able to hide behind silence. Every choice we made from this moment forward would ripple outward, shaping how countless species define mercy, justice, and restraint. That responsibility settled on my shoulders heavier than any uniform I had ever worn. Somewhere out there, alien children would grow up hearing new stories, not about monsters from a dead world, but about a species that arrived in the middle of a war and refused to finish it the way everyone expected. Whether those stories became warnings or prayers would depend on what we did next. We didn't conquer the galaxy. We didn't save it completely. But we changed it. And as our ship turned toward the long road home, toward a living Earth that still believed it was alone, I knew one truth would echo through history and myth alike. They assumed humanity was only myth. Now they know better.